What if I told you that right now, in 2026, the world's first mass-produced electric cars are rolling off the line, powered not by rare, expensive lithium, but by cheap, abundant sodium? Can you imagine never worrying about battery fires again, or charging in freezing cold without losing half your range? You use batteries every single day, in your phone, your laptop, maybe even your car. But do you know the hidden drama that turned this forgotten chemistry into the breakthrough that's about to change everything? Hey friend, welcome back to the Invent IQ. Today we're diving deep into the full story of sodium-ion batteries, from dusty 1970s labs where scientists dreamed big, to the epic comeback that lithium tried to bury, all the way to the 2026 moment when they finally conquered the world. You'll discover who really fought for this technology, the brutal obstacles that almost killed it forever, how the idea evolved over 50 years, and why it's about to power your future cheaper, safer, and greener than ever. Stick around, because by the end, you'll look at every battery in a whole new light. Let's jump in! The forgotten sibling parallel birth in the 1970s. In the 1970s and early 80s, research labs around the world were buzzing with excitement. Teams of scientists were tinkering with new battery chemistries, sodium intercalating materials that could store and release energy just like their lithium cousins. It felt like the future was wide open. Sodium was everywhere, pulled straight from seawater, dirt cheap, 1,000 times more abundant than lithium. But here's the twist. Lithium proved slightly better at the time. By the late 1980s, the spotlight shifted hard. Lithium-ion batteries stole the show. And when Sony commercialized the first lithium-ion cells in the 1990s, using groundbreaking work from Professor John Goodenough, sodium got pushed to the back shelf. Imagine being the reliable older brother who gets overlooked because the flashy younger one grabs all the attention. That's exactly what happened. Sodium-ion sat quietly in the shadows for decades. But that early work planted the seed. It showed sodium could work on the same rocking chair principle as lithium, ions shuttling back and forth between electrodes, and that foundation would one day save the planet. Lithium's total domination, the 1990s setback. Fast forward to the 1990s, lithium-ion exploded. Phones, laptops, then early electric cars, everything ran on lithium. Sodium? Forgotten. Why? Lithium delivered higher energy density right out of the gate. Factories were built for lithium. Billions poured in. Sodium researchers watched their funding dry up. It was brutal. Picture scientists who had spent years perfecting sodium materials suddenly told, sorry, the world chose lithium. Many projects shut down. Patents gathered dust. But a few stubborn teens kept the flame alive in university labs. They knew sodium's dirty little secret. It was safer, didn't catch fire as easily, and worked beautifully in extreme cold. Lithium? Not so much. That setback wasn't the end. It was the pressure that would force the comeback. Because when lithium prices started skyrocketing in the 2010s, the world remembered there was a cheaper, greener alternative waiting in the wings. The spark returns, early 2010s resurgence. Early 2010s, lithium prices spiked, supply chains strained. Suddenly, governments and companies panicked. We can't rely on rare lithium forever. Sodium-ion research exploded again. Scientists revisited those old 1970s formulas and started improving them fast. Energy density climbed, cycle life got better. Imagine engineers in China and Europe staying up nights, tweaking cathodes and anodes, knowing one breakthrough could slash battery costs by half. And it worked. By the late 2010s, sodium-ion was no longer a lab curiosity. It was a serious contender. Here's the mind blower. Sodium costs about 5 cents per kilogram. Lithium carbonate, $15. That single fact changed everything. The comeback had officially begun. The first heroes, HiNa battery and early commercial tests. Enter HiNa battery technology, a spin-out from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. In the early 2020s, they didn't just talk, they delivered. They created the world's first sodium-ion cells for real-world use. In 2022, they launched a 1,000-ton cathode material line. Then they dropped a 25 kilowatt pack into Jack Motors test vehicles. People drove them. It worked. This was huge. HiNa proved sodium-ion could power real electric cars. Late 2023, the first sodium-ion powered passenger EV hit Chinese roads. Not a prototype, a real car you could buy. Safety was off the charts. Cold weather performance crushed Lithium. The underdog was finally in the game. That moment showed the world sodium wasn't just theory anymore. It was ready to scale. CATL enters the arena. 2021 first-generation breakthrough. 2021. CATL, the planet's largest battery company, drops a bomb. They unveiled their very first sodium-ion battery. The industry gasped. CATL didn't do small steps, they went straight for commercial potential. Energy density jumped, charging speeds improved, and they branded it for the future. Why CATL? Because they saw what everyone else missed. Sodium could solve the lithium bottleneck. They poured resources in, competitors scrambled. The race was on. By 2025, CATL launched their Naxtra line, and large-scale manufacturing began. These cells hit 175 watt per kilogram, delivered over 500 kilometers range in cars, and laughed at minus 40 degrees Celsius temperatures. Game over for the doubters. The 2025 ramp-up, BYD plants and Naxtra goes live. 2024-2025, BYD breaks ground on a massive sodium-ion plant. CATL ramps Naxtra production. HiNa opens multiple gigawatt-hour scale lines. Factories in China start churning out cells by the millions. Other players join. Faraday in the UK, now under Reliance. Altris in Sweden with their Prussian white cathode. Natron in the US. The whole world is watching. It wasn't easy. Scaling from lab to gigafactory meant solving real problems. Dendrite formation, electrolyte stability, manufacturing consistency. But they did it. By late 2025, sodium-ion was no longer experimental. It was industrial, ready for the big stage. The 2026 explosion. First mass-produced EVs hit the streets. February 2026, CATL and Changan Automobile unveiled the Changan Nevo A06, the world's first mass-produced passenger car with sodium-ion batteries. Dealerships in China start deliveries. Customers drive away in cars powered by salt. CATL confirms large-scale deployment across EVs, battery swap stations, commercial vehicles, and grid storage begins this year. Think about it. Just months ago, this was still future tech. Now it's in showrooms. Energy density matches early lithium iron phosphate. Safer, cheaper, works in extreme heat and cold. The underdog didn't just survive, it won. MIT Technology Review just named sodium ion one of the 10 breakthrough technologies of 2026. That's how big this is. Modern impact and fun facts. Today, sodium-ion batteries are in EVs on the road, giant grid storage systems stabilizing renewable energy, even forklifts and two-wheelers. They're safer, no thermal runaway like lithium can have. They thrive in freezing winters where lithium dies. And because sodium comes from seawater and table salt, supply chains are local, secure, and green. Fun fact number 1, a single sodium-ion cell can cost half as much as lithium while delivering similar real-world performance in many uses. Fun fact 2, they handle ultra-fast charging. Some prototypes hit 4C rates, filling in under 15 minutes. Fun fact 3, Europe and the US are now racing to catch China's lead, with pilot lines popping up everywhere. Fun fact 4, sodium-ion works beautifully with renewable energy, storing solar and wind power when the sun doesn't shine. And the biggest one? By 2030, sodium-ion could make up 20 to 30% of the global battery market, slashing our dependence on scarce minerals forever. Conclusion. From those quiet 1970s labs where sodium was just a promising idea, through decades of being overshadowed by lithium, to the 2026 moment when it finally powered real cars on real roads, sodium-ion batteries prove one thing: the best inventions are the ones that refuse to die. When I learned this story, I realized something huge. The future of energy isn't about chasing rarer and rarer metals. It's about using what the Earth already gives us in abundance. Sodium ion isn't replacing lithium. It's freeing us from depending on just one chemistry. It's making electric cars affordable for everyone, stabilizing the grid, and helping the planet heal. This is a true game changer. If you loved this deep dive, smash that like button right now. It really helps the channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next invention story that will blow your mind. Drop in the comments, which invention do you want me to cover next? Another newest 2026 breakthrough or a classic hidden hero like Vaseline? And if you're watching this in 2026, tell me, have you seen a sodium-ion car yet? Thanks for watching, friend. I'll see you in the next video, the Invent IQ, where every invention has an incredible story. Stay curious.